We live so much under the shadow of sudden death that one sees things very differently to ordinary times. Life is normally complicated. Here it is savagely simple. Eat while you can. Help all you can. Sleep when and where you can. And above all, grin and keep a stiff upper lip. Even a mechanical smile is better than an anxious look. Worrying is not good for the men. Percival Fenwick.
When World War I began, men in Britain and its empire rushed to enlist. Joe Murray, an 18-year-old miner from County Durham, joined up, much to his mother's dismay.
Why did I enlist? I simply thought I must. Something told me I should, and as I wished to see the world, this was my great opportunity. Don't worry, Mother. I shall come back safely enough. I am positive of that.
Guy Nightingale was a 23-year-old British regular officer serving with the 29th Division.
Guy Nightingale was a son of the British Empire. He was brought up within the ruling class system. He went to rugby school, he was educated at Sandhurst, and then he joined his regiment. His regiment became his home and his family, as it was for many soldiers and officers at that particular time. He became wedded to it. He became a part of him and he was a part of it.
Salahuddin Adil was a Turkish career officer with the Dardanelles Force Command in the Mediterranean. His wife, Siret, was in the Ottoman capital, Istanbul. She had just given birth to their first child.
November 1914. Dear faithful Siret, I am so sad that under the present circumstances, I am not able to comfort you and see your sweet face as you take care of our child with affection. I hope that peace will come after these difficult times. Salahuddin Adil.
February the 19th, 1915. The British and French fleet's attack on the Dardanelles began. The plan was to sail through to the Ottoman capital, Istanbul, knock the Ottoman Empire out of the war, and open the route to Britain's ally, Russia. Because no troops could be spared from the Western Front, the operation was to be carried out by ships alone, without landing a single soldier. Two men lay behind the plan: British Secretary of State for War Lord Kitchener and First Lord of the Admiralty Winston Churchill. Most of the politicians in the British War Council approved it, without checking earlier intelligence reports on the Dardanelles.
There is no plan for when they get through the Straits, except that the Turks will surrender. That's the plan. That's what everybody's going on. That's what they're expecting to happen, and that's why this operation really is going to succeed. The Turkish government will be so impressed, the Turkish people so overawed by a squadron of British battleships off the Dardanelles, off Constantinople, that they'll immediately throw up their hands and surrender.
But for 3 weeks, the Turks and their German allies resisted the attacks against the Dardanelles. The War Council decided to dispatch British troops to the area and use the Australian and New Zealand troops training in Egypt to aid the Navy. George Bollinger was a bank clerk from New Plymouth, New Zealand. His German father had emigrated in the late 1870s. At 6 feet 4 inches, he was one of the tallest men in the New Zealand Expeditionary Force. Walter, known as Bill Ledley, was one of the shortest men in the New Zealand Army. He was working as a telegraph operator in Christchurch when the war began. The 31-year-old Ledley was a devout Christian, whose diary was filled with verses from the Bible. Ellis Silas was a 30-year-old artist from London who had immigrated to Australia in 1907. At the outbreak of the war, he reluctantly enlisted as a signaller, after changing his mind several times.
I hate war books, soldiers and soldiering. I've not read a newspaper since the war began, and I don't intend to do so. All I know is there's a war on, that I'm doing my bit, and they'll be glad when it's over. How I hate this terrible life. Ellis Silas.
Oliver Cumberland from Scone, Australia, had enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force just to be with his younger brother, Joe. They both wrote often to their sister, Una. She had brought them up since the death of their parents.
Dear Una, I couldn't see Joe go alone and remain behind myself, and I think it will be better now we are together. I promise you I will never leave Joe wounded on the field whilst I have the strength to carry him off, and I know he will do the same for me. Oliver.
Cairo, Egypt, 12 March 1915. Dear old Una, we have finished our training now, and we are only waiting for the word to come for us to go to the front. I will be real glad when we do go. It won't be so monotonous there as it is here. I reckon they ought to put us all in the firing line and let us finish the Germans as soon as possible. I remain your loving brother, Joe.
You see from their letters it was very simple to them. It was simply a matter of helping Britain, defending the empire. It was not something you had to think about a lot. And in that sense they were very typical of thousands of Australians who rushed to enlist.
March the 18th. With international expectations